You're listening to Prep Insider Radio with your hosts, Tommy Morris.
Good. This is nothing to do with State Creek baseball. I'm sorry, but have you seen a series of Fortunate Events?
Christian Pedersen.
I mean, I'm out here grinding. I'm putting in hours. I'm getting there at 5 a.m. to cheer on the water polo team at practice. I'm showing up to our basketball team. I'm showing up to our football games. We don't even have a football team, and I'm supporting that.
Noah Laxina.
And Noah Laxina's number 3 tip for Valentine's Day is...
Chill. Things are going to be all right. All right? You don't want to force it. Let it happen. You're going to be all right.
And Bodie De Silva from Scorebook Live.
I mean, he brought basketball into that one. I got to give him 9 out of 10. I like that.
What's happening, everybody? Christian Pedersen, Bodie De Silva, Noah Laxina with, oh, what did you do, bro? What is that? That is some beautiful hair sculpting going on there for this week. With the Padres hat, it's all looking good. Tommy Morris is also here joining us from his first home ownership. Where are you at today, Tommy?
Process of moving right now. Literally, movers are here as we speak, so... This has been a heck of a morning for me.
All right,
that's a dedicated man right there.
Yeah,
it's landing day at Tommy. They're on the beachhead and they're fighting their way into the house, getting it all set up. But he is going to power through for another show.
Finding a lot
us.
of random items. You know, when you live somewhere for a while, there's some things that you don't know you had that you wish you probably didn't have and are embarrassed to have.
Well, then look for Tommy Morris on offer up under an alias, trying to get rid of thing. Bodie De Silva, I always have to mention, is joining us on behalf of Scorebook Live, the official digital content provider of California CIF. Colton Toll is also joining us now. He is our intern. And Bodie, we'll start with you because you potentially might have to jump off here with some conflicting scheduling. But National Letter of Intent signing day, 2.5 was here this week. It was the Division I football early signing period. We saw a decent amount of kids that went ahead and signed their letters of intent. I did not think that there was anything necessarily shocking or surprising. It wasn't like any of these kids really came screaming out of left field with some major crazy decision. Buckner didn't switch. Nothing like that happened. But what was your takeaway from what you saw countywide?
Yeah, no, in past years, sometimes we've had kids make announcements and it's kind of been up to the last minute. But in this case with this year, I think so many kids wanted to secure that scholarship early. So we've seen for several months, I'd say dating back to really March and April, of just when you find the school that you're locked into, it's probably best case to take that. And you can always switch always up to signing day. But yeah, pretty much what we expected. Having kids go to the national level, Tyler Buckner to Notre Dame, Darren Barkins to Oregon. You go through a lot of Pac-12 kids, Mandela Tobin going to Duke in the ACC, Aiden Sand to the Ivy League. So really spread out and I think a really good class overall for San Diego.
I'm looking through everything, and I think Keenan Guthrie was the only one that I didn't know about coming into that day. Like it wasn't.
I think he committed the day of.
It wasn't that crazy of a day, but it was a crazy day at the same time because, like you mentioned, Pac-12. There's also Elijah Lloyd is going to be going to Utah. I think that's an underratedly big commitment because sometimes DBs just don't get the right amount of love. It's great to see Herman Smith sign to Jackson State. An HBCU is not something.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, it's prime times coaching. Tommy, is that what you're going for in life? Are you trying to be the next prime time? Because I feel like you've got that coaching vibe. Am I wrong on that?
I would okay. Well, Deion Sanders was my favorite player growing up. I think I was Deion Sanders for Halloween like 4 times growing up. So
wait. Tommy. We need to figure this out. Please tell me you're not talking about doing it in blackface. You were not doing this in blackface, right?
No.
Okay,
I'm
good.
not an idiot. No. I wore his jersey, and then they used to make these like little like these they made these like uniform kits that had like helmets. So I had like a Cowboys helmet, his jersey, and then some like shorts, and then I had the bandana too.
That has to be a throwback Thursday for sure. One of these weeks coming up.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Deal.
So.
Anybody else do that? Like, what were you guys ever football players for Halloween growing up, or did you get enough football in your life?
I was always like,
sure, yeah, if you can, yeah.
I was always like a fucking something scary. Like I had a mask on, or like Scream, or
Okay, Krueger. So you went much more the scary route. Colton, how about you?
I was always Karate Kid.
Wait, just always the same thing all the time?
Well, I was that a couple of times, and then I don't know what else I was. Probably like a
firefighter. Were you the fake Karate Kid, Daniel LaRusso, or were you the real Karate?
No, I was Cobra Kai, baby. I was the OG one. I was always OG.
That is funny. That is too funny. Bodie, I'm assuming you were always something Jeremy Tyler related because you did such a good impression of him.
I don't think I really ever went the sports route. I think a lot of it, like what Noah was saying, you put on like the scary mask, and I think once I was a cowboy. So
hey,
there we go. I was always bad pun kid. I would always do something really stupid, play on words type stuff.
So were you Facebook then? Did you write book on your face? That was a very popular costume.
Were you a hanging Chad?
No, I was not into politics in 2004, but yeah, or in 2000. I would have been 10. So wait, Noah, you have me pictured me walking around. What is 10 years old is like second grade. You have me pictured me walking around second grade as a hanging Chad. I like that. No, I actually like that. No, like it was pretty bad. I can't remember all of them, but it was like trying to think what they were. I wasn't exactly Facebook, but it was on that level of just everyone would roll the eye.
Doing the one night stands, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean in college it got real bad. I just put on a box one year and said I was a boxer, like a professional boxer, and I was just wearing a box. I was out of ideas.
Wait, hang on. You just reminded me. In college, I was the NBA lockout one year.
So what? You didn't participate in Halloween? What does that mean?
I had an NBA jersey, and then I had what's it called? Handcuffs on each hand, like but like kind of uncuffed so I could still move around. And then I also had like money sticking out, like fake money sticking out of my pants.
That's too funny, man. That's too.
It's a good costume.
Noah, what are some of your takeaways, or if anything, did anything catch your eye with this football signing day? Because I mean, it's not a ton of kids, but it's still interesting to see some of the variety outside of San Diego. Only one kid committing to a college here in San Diego. A bunch of kids going across the nation. What did you see?
Nothing in particular, but it's good to know that these kids have their spot and they're signing, and it's going to be a change for them going from San Diego somewhere else, but it's a change that they should be excited about, getting that new perspective on life, and have some security going into the season, like potential season that we might have. So,
are these kids? Let's say hypothetically, worst case scenario, no football happens. Are you worried about, if you're a college coach, rust on these kids, or are you thinking, heck yeah, we're getting a class of kids that does not have the wear and tear of their senior year on them, and they will have been rested up for 2 years?
I feel like the lack of experience is something to be worried about. Having those senior reps in with that new body type growing, getting familiar in that particular this new season, that's going to be a factor. But at the same time, being fresh and getting those kids in the right program so they're ready by the time they come to their university. I think that's the biggest factor, is making sure these kids are finding a way to get better, so that way there's not a growing slump period when they get into camp, when they do go to their school.
Because I feel like some of these kids, when you watch them play, like, that they just have it. Like there's that certain it factor that some of these athletes have, where you're like, that guy just has a feel for that position, and he could, middle of the night get straight out of bed and play lockdown coverage on a guy or something like that. And others are like, yeah, right, like you said, they need practice. But I think of both the Noah brothers in the last 5 years coming down with a broken foot last year with Fato, and then I think it was an ACL for Zeke his senior year. I think about some of those guys, and just it's not entirely a safe game. So it'll be interesting to have a generation of guys getting into college with potentially a little bit less of that wear and tear, and seeing how they're going. But we don't know anything for sure if it's not going to be a season or not. We do know, though, finally the guidance coming out from the state health department and the governor's office about what exactly we can look forward to in 2021. And I will say to everybody, it's posted on all of our social medias at SD Prep Insider on Twitter and Instagram, so you can go see the actual chart and follow along. But basically what it said is that we're looking at right now, the state says January 25th, X number of sports are good to go. on starting back, and it's basically it comes down to what tier we are in right now. The Southern California region is in tier purple, which if I'm looking up, down across this, we're going to get cross country. We're going to get golf. We are going to get tennis. And that will be it. Unless we add cornhole and bocce ball to be in high school sports.
And we really should.
Well, no, wait. What about track and field's on there too, right?
Yeah, track and field's a season 2 sport, though.
Oh, okay. Sorry, season 1, yeah.
The next tier up is red. The only things that we can get here back are for the season 1 is field hockey. Everything else that is important is in that orange tier, which the Southern California region has really only been in for very little amount of time in the last 9 months. So I wanted to get some reaction around the room to, is this good news? Is this bad news? Is this non-news? Because I think that a lot of people sprinted to the extremes in all directions. So, Bodie, what did you take away from this announcement? Where's your mindset at right now?
Yeah, as we're talking, I see that our local section has sent out a memo, so I'm pulling that up. But
read it. I will filibuster while you are reading this, and I will say that Tommy is sending in the photos of him. Tommy,
what?
You rock a bandana on the head a lot better than I thought possible.
That was the D1 look, man. And I even had if you look closely, I had a mouthpiece on that little fake helmet too.
Oh my.
I like that. That was a good one.
Yeah, Tommy.
I was into it.
Permission to share this on our social media?
That is fine.
All right, deal.
Well, make people guess who it is. Make people guess who it is.
Sure. I guess we could say that this is maybe Bodie. Maybe a young Noah.
Could be. Could be. And then I'm the middle, and then I had these costumes like every year. If you,
well, it makes sense because you turned out to be a football icon at Country Day, and you look good in you're basically already wearing the Country Day colors there. Bodie, feel free to jump in.
I was definitely way too old to still have this costume, but oh man.
Bodie, whenever you have the gist of that press release interpreted, feel free to jump back in here.
Yeah, give me a minute or so. I just want to make sure I cover all this.
As I'm scrolling into, that bears one. Your head is too big.
Tiers,
yes. Yeah, Noah, please.
Getting us, at least it gives us a sense of direction for where we need to be. Like, there's an aiming point. Okay, we need to get to this spot for these sports. I feel like having that, at least that type of clarity, it maybe not be the most exciting news, but it's what we needed to hear as far as, hey, this is what it is, and hopefully we get there soon.
Do you get the sense, or let me ask you this, Noah, if you put your commissioner hat on, do you start, if we are, let's say we are still in purple tier in mid-January, do you start golf and cross country and nothing else, or do you wait until we are at a little bit more widespread level?
I mean, me personally, I would want the sports that could go out and perform because they get to. I know there would be a lot of like reaction as far as that's unfair, and that's every kid should get the chance to play. Why do these sports only get to play? But at the same time, if you're looking at it from a realistic perspective, would you rather have nobody eat or at least some people that get to,
And I ask because I think it goes to kind of an interesting interpretation of what CIF is. If they are really about the student athletes, I think the natural answer would be, if there is an opportunity to get some of them out there, no matter what the sport is, we are going to advocate for it. We're going to allow it. But, you weigh that at the cost of how much flack do you want to take from the football community if they are already the loudest ones on social media and the largest in numbers, but they are 2 tiers away from getting their sports. So you're right. It's going to be really interesting to see. Tommy, where do you fall when you hear all this news about, the 25th being the next target date, but you have always been somebody who I think is much more pessimistic than optimistic about all this.
Yeah, I used to be optimistic. Now I'm not. I just don't. We've never been in the orange tier, have we? I don't think it's ever in the history of the tiers.
I think we were in the orange tier for about 10 days. I will filibuster
Halloween,
now.
I think.
I think it was about 3 weeks before Halloween, like late September, early October.
But the numbers are so bad now. It's honestly scary. I don't think it's too hard to turn something like this around in that frame of time. And I'm not optimistic too, because if you notice the pattern, it's holiday, then spike, holiday, then spike. And we have Christmas and New Year's back to back. So it's not going to be, the numbers are going to get worse. I don't think they're going to get better. So I'm all for letting whoever's allowed to play, because kind of like what I said last week, it's not fair for kids who play golf to not be able to play. It's stupid. I could go play golf right now. I can go play tennis right now. Like, normal people can go do these things and it's safe. So they should be allowed to play. And then, even sports like baseball, I know baseball got lumped into, I think they have to be ready to be baseball. I think baseball is probably fine to play too. So maybe they need to go back and look at, and softball as well, and go back and look at what sports should be safe to play regardless of tier. And I think, if I'm a kid, unless I've already signed my letter of intent to go play in college, this is probably a fun year to just try something new. Because at the end of the day, I don't foresee us dropping into the orange for a while. So I don't think it's going to happen, especially not January 25th. There's no way. And then you run into the problem. Well, now it's February, late February, maybe we're in orange now, but then the next season starts in August So then do we really want kids playing 2 full football seasons, or even just a half season and a full season? It just seems like too much.
Yeah.
I feel terrible for the kids. I really do. But there's almost no, it's just a lose-lose is really what it is.
Yeah. So I asked CIF at the state level if there was any sentiment of potentially merging like backwards into one mega season and just, forcing athletes to choose or anything like that. And I got the sense that the existing, end of season 1 date is a non-breachable wall, that they have no interest in trying to do something that is we're going to sneak in a 10-week football season because we're just going to push it back into anything like that. I think they want to not take away from the hold on a second. I don't think they want to take away from the spring sports for a second time. I don't think they have any interest in doubling up on depriving baseball players of their opportunities if they have to choose between football and baseball or something like that. So it'll be interesting. Bodie, come on, man. You got to just jump back in here at some point after a 7.5 minute filibuster. So
some of the bullet points I've read so far, will schools be allowed to host tournaments? No, limited to 2 schools. That makes sense. They're also going to ask that CIF teams only be played with teams from the same state or bordering counties. So that also makes sense. As Tommy just mentioned, baseball's in red. That's one I'd be curious, because I think that probably could be moved to purple. I kind of feel that with a lot of the outdoor ones that maybe aren't like football where you're hitting every time. The capacity for facilities doesn't really matter at this point, I don't think, because I don't see any of the I know when you're in purple you're limited to 10% of the facility, and I just don't see any of the sports that they're mandating to get to yellow, like basketball, cheer, wrestling, being able to be played at this point. And you guys had brought up before the date of January 25th. That's kind of the projected opening of competitions as of right now, but we're so far away from actually beginning it. It's tough to say for sure. So it says the state is going to reassess the January 5th date on January 4th, which would be 3 weeks prior. So hopefully get some good news and things can turn around by then.
You hope so. The no tournaments one makes sense. The non distance traveling makes sense. There wasn't a ton of that, I feel like, that happened necessarily. Like we're a big enough section.
But there's also other complications of traveling, because you can't have the same amount of kids on a bus. So you basically have to double up on buses, because you need every kid to have their own seat, as opposed to having 2 to a seat. So it becomes a little more tricky to travel, which is why I think trying to stay as close to home as possible is good. And I mean, even to the point, they might even be like, hey, if you feel more comfortable driving with your parents, which generally you don't want to do, because then it becomes kind of a headache. But I would, if I was, part of a school district or whatever, I would encourage the kids to travel with their parents to the games.
Well, and this might be a super gentrified answer from me, or question maybe from me. but I feel like football is the sport that really gets hit hardest / worst on terms of travel, because other teams are significantly smaller in rosters that you would think that they would be able to come up with enough cars to individually transport themselves to and from games in a local enough setting.
Yes and no. I mean, the problem with that is, especially if you're talking JV, so JV's got to play earlier in the day, and you're asking a parent basically to take a half day to drive their kid to the game because JV kids can't drive because they're not old enough. So that becomes a problem. And then with the older kids, I mean, not all of them either can drive or have the means to afford transportation like that. So you are stuck again at the mercy of, is mom or dad on work? If not, then you got to find a carpool, and it becomes a headache again, especially even if it's a game like 45 minutes away, it becomes a little bit of a headache. And then, so you want to provide at least the option to have some sort of free transportation for the kids. But again, I would offer that, but then also encourage, if possible, just drive yourself.
Just walk. Just schedule all games within walking distance for the entire season.
Yeah, if your football team, you all get your pads on and you walk a couple blocks to the game, oh, that'd be great when you're showing up. You won the intimidation before it even started.
How many schools? Well, no, you could do that if Bishops played La Jolla High. They could do that.
Yeah, they could play. They could play other schools. They could play. They could play. They could play Country Day, University City, La Jolla High,
Cathedral,
Claremont.
Torrey Cathedral, Country Day, University City. How far is Claremont from Mission Bay?
Not horrible because it's downhill.
Yeah, get some bikes and you're going downhill.
That'd actually be awesome.
Yep. I feel like that's where we should leave it. We've come up with a version of high school sports where everything's within walking distance of each other.
That Ramona Benita
series.
The Ramona Benita Vista game may not be great.
Fallbrook San Ysidro.
But yeah, Fallbrook San Ysidro. That'd be like traversing the Oregon Trail. You lose half the kids on the way there from like starvation and heat exhaustion. But I think other than that, yeah.
They gotta start walking right now.
Noah, do we completely miss
walking on Thursday?
Do we completely miss yours and Colton's generation when we say Oregon Trail? Like, did you guys play that game at all, or is that just an our generation joke?
No, I mean I learned about it in school.
Yeah,
but you never got the thrill of riding the Oregon Trail in a computer game to try and find out whether or not you could make it there or die of cholera on the way. That's an our generation joke. Dang.
I don't know about that. I don't know about all that. That's not my time.
Yeah, that's legit how we learned history. They're like, they would play this on the computer and you'd be like, I'm going to buy, we can carry all this weight. So I'm going to buy X amount of like gunpowder and bullets and meat and nothing else. And we're going to just say, F it. We're going to ride out west. And then like, oh, like you didn't bring any, medicine, or you didn't bring any blankets. You're going to freeze to death. Like it was horrible because you never made it. Nobody ever made it to Oregon ever alive.
I was a big never bring any food and just bring a bunch of gun stuff and just kill like animals and hunt.
Yeah, but then you'd shoot a ton of buffalo and you wouldn't be able to carry enough of the meat back. And then like 3 days later, Big Jim is like starving to death. And you're like, we shot all those buffalo. How do we not have any food?
My fault. I'm too good at hunting.
Yeah. Or the worst would be when you would choose to like the wrong thing to cross a river. And it'd be like, nope, your wagon capsized. Yeah. Like everyone's dead. Sorry, bro.
You guys sound so old right now.
Yes. Dude, this is getting hit. We're getting hit in the face with this right now. No,
I guarantee you there's got to be an Oregon Trail. There's got to be an Oregon Trail cell phone app that's free. I believe there is. And if so, I would like all the young kids to educate themselves and download the game.
Put it on Twitch.
Probably. It was almost like required like learning for like third graders. I feel like you had to like play Oregon Trail. It was the most bizarre.
You know what? They should. We'll put this on the.
Honestly, I feel like that sounds like a tactic to be like, you don't run away from home because this is what's about to happen.
Unless you want to have to shoot buffalo to survive and float over rivers in your.
That's the type of mind games they be playing with us when we're kids. Yeah. That's how we brainwash.
We'll put this on the poll. Should they bring back Oregon Trail, but in VR? Because maybe that's the next incarnation of it for the next generation of kids. Exactly, Noah. That's what I'm saying.
Attacked by a buffalo.
Oh my God, my kid's about to have nightmares about the Oregon Trail. I don't never want to go to Oregon. Oregon, Dad. I'm like, come on, son. They produced Justin Herbert. They're not that bad.
Noah, the good joke there is Marcus Mariota. That's the punchline there is they produced Marcus Mariota. And
Jeremiah Masoli.
Hey, CJ Verdell.
CJ Verdell, stop playing.
CJ Verdell.
And soon to be Darren Barkins.
We can't wait. We're obligated to say Akili Smith.
We can't forget Samson New, who I saw at a CVS a few weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Someone was like, the person next to me was like, how'd you recognize him? I'm like, the mask doesn't prevent you from knowing who Samson New is. It's a pretty identifiable
guy who looks like he could tackle anybody in the CVS.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
He'll stick anyone in that CVS.
I was like, yeah, the dude that has the tattoo on his arm that looks like, like you said, he could tackle anybody in CVS, and it's a CVS.
Million miles an hour.
Yeah, and it's a CVS 5 blocks from his house. I was like, the details line up, but I'm pretty sure that's Samson. And they're like, go talk to him. I'm like, I'm not going to bug him. It's CVS and tackle me and hurt me. All right, any closing notes? We're going to assume that we're a month and 7 days away from football returning, but who knows? We want it back. Please get it back. Maybe we'll get Coach 4 on next week because Tommy, I know you've asked about getting him on.
Can we please?
And I'm sure that he has some actual information on whether or not some of these coaches' initiatives to get things moved up.
He's very dialed in. He's a good follow on Twitter.
He's also
FORE.
He's also in the junior Seau 30 for 30.
And a Fallbrook grad.
That is true.
Facts, man. Nowhere else will you get this level of journalism on San Diego high school sports. All right. See you later, Noah. Talk to you soon. Guys, unless you have anything else, I think that we can call it and we can say everyone stay safe. Congratulations to everybody that signed. Please go check out all of Bodie's articles at Scorebook Live, California, SB Live, CA. Anything particular coming up that the people need to know about?
We got, as we make our top 50 countdown, we got 3 more San Diego teams. So
2 more,
including one in the top 10. So
3 more.
Ooh, wonder who that
I thought you said there was only 4 total.
5.
Oh, deal.
So
sounds good.
And just a recap, who we revealed so far?
St. Augustine was 32, Lincoln was 30, and let's see, 2 of the last 3 were CIF champions last year. So I'll give you that hint.
Ooh.
There we go.
You finally wised up and put La Jolla in the top 10 in the state. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. We will talk to you guys next week.